Good morning. And long time no see. I actually had to take a break for about a week because I mildly hurt my neck. It wasn't anything severe, it was just feeling pinchy. So I need to give myself a couple days off. And as you can tell, between then and now, my hair decided to go back inside of my head. Yeah. And so I'm excited to be full send back at the gym. Gonna still take it a little bit easy, not gonna go too insane with some of the weight. Um, Probably going to focus because Monday is shoulder day, so focusing a lot on the delts. Going to try to make sure I don't aggravate the neck just in case. Like I said, it's feeling fantastic right now. I feel nothing there, but still going to take it steady and easy to make sure nothing is going wrong and I don't potentially aggravate something is there. If it does happen, then obviously, you know what I need to do. And I don't want to do that. Because as you know, you could wind up in a doctor's office, and that's worse than school. But still got to put the work in. And when I was off, I wasn't goofing around. I still made sure I got all my steps in. I still made sure to eat properly. I've been eating kiwi a lot more with the skin because that's where you get the fiber. Thanks, Eugene Tell, for that information. But also still working on my mobility because that's of high importance. I am getting lower in the splits, even if some of the workouts really suck. Some of them are really uncomfortable to do. So I do like the amateur version of it, which is fine. Because, you know, progress is still being made. Even if you have to do the lesser version of it, and over time you can do the perfect version of it. So that's not of much concern. But anyway, I'm going to drink this coffee, wake up a little bit, make my pre-workout, and get the party started. Like I said, it's shoulder day, and I can't wait to get that pump in. I'll catch you guys at the gym. And now it's time to actually make that pre-workout. First, we put in the pre-workout itself. Plop. Then we add some good old-fashioned creatine. Plop. And then a surprisingly large scoop of collagen peptides, just for some added benefits. Plop. Gotta stir her on up. I also take a nitrous oxide booster and some niacin just to get some added blood flow and energy for the pump. Tasty. So I made kind of a decision for today's workout. Now I'm still going to go work out, but I'm not going to go to my actual gym. I'm actually going to go to the fitness center because I don't want the temptation of wanting to go heavier than I should and then injuring my neck again. So to the fitness center we go. Again, we already know these workouts. You see what I'm doing, and plus it's just a standard shoulder day, especially with me trying to make sure I don't re-injure my neck or pinch my neck. So let's have another fun conversation. I think today I want to talk about what I listen to when I am working out. And it can change from time to time. Most of the time, as I think with most people, it is a lot of music. And what type of music will I listen to when I'm working out? Well, my favorite genre of music is goth music, you know, Sisters of Mercy, Joy Division, Bauhaus, The 69 Eyes, which is my favorite band of all time, some Susie and the Banshees, things like that. But how much of that can really get me into the zone of working out? Quite a bit, actually, because, again, it's about getting into the zone, not getting necessarily pumped up to work out for me, if you know what I mean. Because when I'm in the gym, or in this case, the fitness center, I'm already pumped up to work out. So that's not really a concern of mine. What I am trying to do is stay in that zone and focused. And it's not always that type of music, and every now and again, there is some loud music in there because, like I said, sometimes you need that pump up music to stay focused. I've been listening to this one band called Kettle Cadaver, which is an very underground black metal punk band from the 90s. I think it was the 90s at least. And they're one of those true punk bands where you're lucky if you can find their music on YouTube, and they have no Wikipedia articles. And obviously some Bullet for My Valentine, which is one of my, if not my favorite metalcore band. Them, Ice Nine Kills, Lorna Shore. I know they're more deathcore than metalcore, but... And also love listening to the band Battery, another punk band from the late 80s to early 90s. And what I like about them is, again, they're one of those bands where you're lucky if you can find their music on YouTube or just any random streaming service, because I think they only have one album on Spotify, and that album doesn't even have my favorite songs of theirs. And of course, more house music. I love house music. Like I said, goth music is my favorite genre of music, but house music is a close second with that, because I didn't even realize how much I loved house music until recently, when I was looking at my playlist of all the stuff I've been listening to throughout the year and how much of that was that style. I was impressed. I was like, wow, I guess I really do love this genre. You know, Borgie, Loud Luxury, The Chainsmokers. That type of stuff just really keeps me into the zone. And there's this one house artist named Victorious, and I love his stuff, but when I look him up, a lot of the times it's the power metal band by the same name. And here's the thing. I love power metal Victorious. They are one of my favorite power metal bands, and I absolutely adore power metal. It is such a fun genre. But when I want to listen to the house version of that name, I have to do some digging. Thankfully, it's easy to find since I have his music saved already to my playlist, so that's no longer an issue. But outside of music, I also will sometimes listen to podcasts. Get Played, being a video game podcast. What else do I listen to? Sometimes Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, it's more his guests than just listening to him, so it's never really a guarantee of what I'm listening to when it comes to Joe Rogan. If I like the guest, I'm probably going to like the episode, so that's up in the air. And also quite a lot of audiobooks, you know, like Starship Troopers, The Forever War, The Chronicles of Narnia, Lord of the Rings. Audiobooks just are like a comfort zone for me, especially when I'm trying to do cardio. Just listening to some books, getting some cardio in, and getting my workout done.
Hey guys, great news. I found a cool stick. So I'm back from the fitness center, and unfortunately my time with the fun stick is over. But I'm home. I'm going to make my post-workout snack, which is some plain Greek yogurt, chocolate protein, and a dab of honey. So I'm going to make that, chow that down, get a shower, and I have young adult ministry tonight, so I'm going to go to that. Come home, eat some supper, do some laundry, and then just chill. Anyways, I'll see you guys in a minute. Peace. So, young adult ministry got canceled today because we had a tornado warning. Isn't that fun? On the upside, though, I get to make supper a little bit early, and I'm making steaks. I had them marinating for a while, so hopefully they taste really good. I want them to have a nice good char. I season them properly, too. My own special Dolby seasoning, paprika, a little bit of salt, not too much, garlic, chopped garlic, crushed red pepper, stuff like that, and low sodium soy sauce. And I'm excited to chow down on it.
Hopefully it's as good as it looks because it's looking pretty good. I don't know. Fingers crossed I cracked the steak code. I've been working on these for a little bit. And I'll let you guys know when my day is done. I'll catch you after supper. Now that, my friends, was a good steak. I ate it like it was nothing. But, as I said, Young Adult Ministry was canceled because we had a tornado warning. Now, there was no tornado, obviously, unless I blacked out. The tornado hit and things got repaired really quickly, and everything went exactly as where it was placed before. Outside of that, though, I don't think it happened. But our passage for today's ministry was James 1, and it's an explanation of do not be, or the part that stood out to me the most was the part where it discusses the idea of if you are confused, frustrated, or feeling misguided, or any other synonyms for things like that, do not be afraid to ask God for the guidance you need, because we all are confused and frustrated people. And nothing's ever going to be completely black and white for us, except for her. She's completely black. Well, she's also has a little white too with her bandana. But life isn't a linear series of events, so sometimes we do have to not just ask God for assistance, but maybe even ask our friends, ask our family for help when we need it. And I think a lot of people are embarrassed to ask for help. I am too sometimes. I like asking for help. I like to be on top of things, the strong guy. But life is an unfair thing. We live in a fallen world, after all, my friends. And I believe that if we were more willing to ask for help when we need it, things could go at an easier pace. It'd also help us build more communities with each other. Because we live in such an isolated society now. Like, who do we ask for help? Some random person on the internet that we know via proxy? And that's what communities were built on, was helping one another. Volunteering to help your neighbor when they need help, like even if they're not asking for it, just being like, hey, do you need help with this? And they say, you know what, I actually do. Or you go to your neighbor one day and say, hey, I have this issue, can you help me out? And they say, yeah, of course, I got your back, man. And I think that's what's missing from our society nowadays. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be left alone, if you know what I mean. But I think too many of us want to be just straight up alone. And we are also missing out on the spiritual healing that being a part of a community can help with us. Now, I'm not saying we all have to become friends with every single person, because that's just an impossibility. And honestly, to me, that sounds like a nightmare, because we all have different tastes, we all have different interests, and not everyone's going to like you, and that's fine. And we shouldn't try to force ourselves to like another person because society tells us to. Now, that doesn't mean we completely dislike that person. We're just not wanting to be friends with that person, and just we don't want to be around them because there's just something about them that we don't connect with, and we'd rather them not be around us. And there's nothing wrong with that too. So, like I said, not everyone is compatible with every person. We are all meant to be with people who walk a similar life with us. Like my friend Xavier and I, we both have a very strong passion for acting and athletics. And my friend Andrew and I, we both love movies, we both love video games, we both love Sonic the Hedgehog. My friends Will and Macy, we walk together because we have a connection with Christ. And sometimes it is very, like, you find that one thing, and that thing is like a strong bond that really gets you connect with another person. But there are times where even if you have similar interests, there's just no way to properly connect with them. It just, and there's no true explanation why. It just, your heart and mind just kind of feel like you cannot connect with that other person. You can try until the cows come home, and maybe one day that connection will happen. But I believe if we try to force connections, that's where things go wrong. But connections still need to happen. And I think, like, even if in the apartments I'm living in now, at most, I walk by someone, I give them a nod, and then we all walk away. How often do there's a social area of the apartment complex, and I go there often just to kind of relax for a little bit, to get out of the apartment when there's nothing really going on in the day. You know how many people are there? Almost no one. So what's the point of a social area if there's not going to be people who are social? And I think the only time of year that people get social in the area is when the pool opens. And even then, it's mostly just parents watching their kids, which is fine. You have to make sure your kids aren't getting hurt. But how much natural community are we building now? Most of the community we have is just on the internet, and we don't even see those people. I mean, maybe we make friends on the internet and we schedule like, hey, do you guys actually want to meet? And then we do, and then when that actually happens, it's a case of, do you truly connect with that person, or do you just connect with them through the fourth wall? If you can ask God for help, you can ask your neighbor for help. Obviously, don't like become needy towards other people, but ask for help when you need it. Because that's the first step of rebuilding community with each other. That's the first step of making life have value again, because we live in such an isolated society, and I myself, I might be a hypocrite here, but I like being alone most of the time. Like I said, my dream house is in the mountains somewhere away from a bunch of people, but I would still want to find those times where I can just leave, find other people who have that interest, and connect with them, and then we just kind of do our own thing every now and again. I don't know. A lot of it is just wondering how much we can truly connect with each other if we're not actually willing, if the only connection we have is via an internet connection. That's a weird tongue twister. That's why that part stood out to me. There are other good parts about how temptation happens, not through God, but through the fallen world we live in. But that initial part of asking God for help made me really think of how we are all kind of embarrassed to ask for help from our neighbors, from our friends, from our family. Now, obviously, if you don't actually know your neighbor, it's hard to ask them for help or even offer it too. And I think that is a good first step, is offering help when you see your neighbor needs a helping hand. But that's ultimately what got me thinking a lot. She agrees. But anyway, still cleaning up my backlog of video games to get through before I play Rise of Ronin. Thinking about new movies coming out. I heard Nobody 2 finally has a release date. I'm excited about that because the first Nobody was awesome. I like smaller action films where like the combat's more grounded. Of course, I love the Avengers and things like that, like big spectacle action movies like Godzilla. Godzilla's my favorite movie series of all time, obviously. And the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, when they go nuts, oh man, that is so awesome. I love Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, that's obvious, but my backlog game right now is a game called Nightmare Reaper. It's a lot of fun. I was not anticipating it to be as fun as it would be, but some of those trophies are a little too grindy, so I don't know if I'm actually going to go for it. If I do go for it, it's going to be over time, not in one set sitting. My roommate right now, he's playing Xenoblade Chronicles Cross, which is a fantastic game. I have it on the Wii U. They just re-released it for the Switch, and I might get the re-release for the Switch. I don't know, my Joy-Con has drift, and I never thought about fixing it since then. But I'm gonna call it a night. I had a good day overall. I wish I would have gotten out more, but like I said, we had a tornado warning today, so there really wasn't much to do outside of going to the gym, playing some video games, eating food, watching some documentaries. But it wasn't a bad day. I'll catch you later.